welcome. I want to share a breath tool called Brahmari. And Brahmari means bee, the buzz of the bee. And it's very specific to the buzz of the queen bee of a very specific type of bee that is in India. And if you know about bees, there's a few things I just want to highlight because it really informs why there's an entire breath technique that is inspired by the buzz and the hum of the bee. So the worker bees decide who the queen's going to be. And they make some choices based on kind of, aspects that I can't at all articulate. But when they made their choice of, okay, these are going to become the queen bee, which means that every bee of these hives have the potential to be the queen bee, is they feed those bees royal jelly. And the royal jelly is what transforms a worker bee into a queen bee. And when the queen bee emerges, and usually they have 2 or 3 at the same time, the queen bee emerges, there's a very specific hum and a buzz that the queen bee has that calls forth the workers and organizes the hives. But if there's several queens, they're going to basically kind of communicate through their buzz, and their humming can become a little bit aggressive, and they can just kind of warn each other. And then the other queens end up just leaving with a certain number of worker bees, and then they create their own hive. But this queen bee's hum is very significant, and it calls in everyone. And so this bee inspires this breath, and this hum inspires this breath so that it calls us back in. And I want to share with you 3 ways of doing this breath, and offer also a practice. And then I would encourage you to do this on your own, because what really helps is to do the practice and then sit a few minutes after. So the very classic way of doing this breath is this little flap on the edge of your ear right here. So you don't stick your fingers in your ears. You take the flap and you close the ears. And then you take the tips of the fingers to these kind of specific marma points. These are specific marma points from Ayurveda. And you gently press on them to stimulate them. But notice that these are also the major senses. So you're also kind of closing down these major senses and vibrating internally. Now, this can feel very invasive. It can feel just maybe any claustrophobia. It cannot feel very comfortable. So I want to welcome another option, which you still cover the ears, like the ears, and then place one of the fingers right at the eyebrows and just close the eyes. That darkness can be very comforting and restful for the eyes. And then the other one is you cover the ears and maybe fingers hold the head, hold the brain. And if that is even, just feels like, okay, I don't want anything touching my head or my face, maybe you just cover your ears. Okay, that's another one. And then if you don't want to do absolutely anything, you can just hum. And the benefits of humming: for the vagus nerve, we have a right and left of these cranial nerves, and also the humming that brings into attention and also helps lengthen the exhale. I encourage to do this 3 times, 5 times, or 7 times. Those are the numbers that I tend to work with, that you can also just hum for as long as you're comfortable to. It's best to not do it for too much. I usually do 7, thinking of the chakras. You can do 8, 10, 12, 3, 5. I'm going to let you just choose the version you want to do, and we're going to do 3 together. And then after the 3, relax your hands down, and your eyes can be open or closed, but keep them turned down. And if the eyes are closed and you're comfortable, let your gaze go forward right into this region. Because the most important part of this breath, of this humming, this buzzing, is to call forth all of the vrittis and bring them into a place that they can just settle. And ultimately, it's for the mind to get quiet. There's these beautiful benefits of developing nitric oxide. When we hum, we increase tenfold the amount of nitric oxide, which is a vital gas for our immune system. And these benefits, you know, I know as we progress, we'll find more and more out, but the origins are to quiet the doorways and to quiet the mind for meditation, for samadhi, for states of absorption, to become integrated and experience ourselves in a peaceful way. Let's do 3 rounds together. So gently take that little flap and cover the ears. Do the version that you're most comfortable with. And invite a long inhale. And just as you exhale, soften the shoulders, soften the elbows, feel the spine a little long. And now let's do 3 hums. Inhaling. Let it go as long as you're comfortable. Go to the very end till a natural pause. When you're done with your 3rd one, just let your hands gently relax and rest. And just take a moment. Just arrive in your body. And open your eyes and gently look around and ground yourself. So take your time to practice this. I encourage you to do this maybe in the morning or in the middle of the day or in the evening. Think of these specific moments when you're transitioning, rituals of transitioning to work, transitioning from work to home, transitioning to sleep, transitioning from sleep into wakefulness, especially if the mind feels very cluttered and chatty. This is a great way to quiet. And if the idea of a bee is not kind for you or trauma informed, feel free to pick any other, imagine it as anything else that has a beautiful hum that brings you nurturing and brings you ease. Thank you. Namaha, namaste.